How you doing, folks? Cyrus here. Today I'm here with a very interesting topic. So yesterday morning, it was Friday. It's like in our country, Friday is the weekend that we actually have. Everywhere is closed and we're just resting and blah, blah, blah. I had a very beautiful time with one of my friends in a local cafe in our city. We went there and we started talking, and it was a very beautiful 2 hours talking about marriage. It was a very beautiful concept. We started just very crazy at the beginning, and it became very beautiful in the middle, and we had a very beautiful conclusion afterwards. And I thought maybe I can share it with you. I was thinking about having a podcast and actually put that 2 hours there, but we didn't have the facility to actually record it. And it went very friendly and a bit professionally in the middle, and I thought the conclusion may be beautiful. So I thought maybe I can have a piece of paper and a pen, and I can write whatever I want to talk about, to be able to record where I'm at and having a roadmap to not getting lost into my own talking. So we started from marriage, that how it used to be a social need at the beginning, then it became a cultural thing. Afterwards, we felt that it's a need, and we get into it. You know, at the beginning, we didn't want it to have it, but it was a need. It was a compulsory need. It wasn't a voluntarily need. It was kind of thing that we had to have it, because, you know, back in agricultural time, when we actually had to grow wheat, and actually we domesticated wheat based on Yuval Harari. The wheat actually domesticated us anyway. But the thing is that we had shelters, we had fences around our farmlands, and we started having families, and we needed men protection for having a bigger farmlands and having better productivity. So because of that, we thought about having bigger families and men and women getting along. I don't know, I was like, yesterday we didn't talk about how the terms of marriage came in, like the husband and wife. I don't know, maybe it's a part of a religion, I don't know. I didn't thought about it yesterday as well, but men and women needed each other. So it was part of the thing, and it actually came from long before that, like before even we wanted to have farmlands, and we were hunter-gatherers. Like, we found each other as men and women. So it was a bigger history behind that. But the terms marriage itself, maybe it started from that, and it became more popular. The terms monogamy, like, for instance, became more emphasized by all means back then. And then after it was a compulsory need, it became a culture, and then people actually had it. Between us, the terms marriage and having only one wife and living with her. But afterwards, we felt it's a need. So it was from a cultural thing, it became a need, and it was a voluntarily need. It was like we were volunteered to actually having a marriage, and that's the scary part, I think. Why in the first place we wanted to volunteer for such a thing? But anyway. Let's not get into that. And then afterwards, like nowadays, we don't feel it's a need anymore. And I don't know if it's a true thing or not, but based on our talk yesterday, it was not a true thing. It shouldn't really happen, but it did happen. So what was the reason behind all of it? So from marriage, we went into nature. So how it actually happened in the nature. So nature-wise, we're male and female. So it doesn't matter that we're human or animals, we're male and female. So it means that a male is about to giving a babies to a female, and the females are gonna just raise the kid. And this is how nature works, not about it's like our mechanism or anything like that. But it's about how nature works. And we didn't want it to have that. We wanted to bring it to another level, which I don't think it worked. Why? So we go from here to another place. DNA. So whatever that we learn nowadays, whatever that we learn, it's going to be coded in our DNA. and we're going to pass it to another generation after we're going to have kids. So our kids going to have our DNA based on some chances. And whatever that we learned through all these years that we were on Earth, they're going to know it before getting born. Like, this is in our DNA. This is the database that we collected over years, and we're going to pass it to another generation. So imagine human beings were around here, almost like, at least our species, like the Homo sapiens. We were here for, I assume, 14,000 years. In 14,000 years, we didn't have such a thing like monogamy. It was more complicated back then. And it was just like we were much more closer to our animal instinct. Like, a male could have multiple partners and the female only had one partner. And that was kind of like a stimulation that happened on Earth. And it was just, constantly going back and forth. And it was an experiment that worked. It was just like, nature knows that this is one of the best ways that it can actually optimize itself. Because, as I told you, like, when you learn everything on society, it's going to be coded in your DNA. And imagine if you want to just only have one wife and the monogamy is going to be so good, maybe your wife is not going to have a good DNA. So when you share your DNA with her, maybe your kids are not going to have the perfect DNA as he or she can. So what's the problem? The problem is that your DNA is going to be wasted. Apart from the fact that you can be a very great person, but your DNA can be corrupted when another DNA is not that good enough. Nature-wise, if it was based on nature, bad DNAs couldn't really grow and they could actually die in a very early age. And you wanted to have kids when you were, 25 or 26, and then, or much more earlier, I assume. And then you couldn't have bad DNAs on Earth. They would die naturally, and only good ones are going to stay alive. But nowadays, everyone can stay alive, and that's the problem. That's the problem with the monogamy. That's the problem with that. If you had multiple partners, like 15 partners, 20 partners, the chances that you could have a very healthy and powerful kids based on your DNA was much more higher than only having one wife. So nature-wise, it had a problem. I think Earth did not really experience enough stimulation and lab process to be able to know that marriage is optimized or not. Yes, based on our law, based on the thing that we know nowadays, we can say family is a very good thing, family is a very powerful thing, but we have no idea what was happening 14,000 years ago when there were no marriage and when there were no such thing. And actually, if everybody could stay alive, there were too many bad DNAs that they had to be among us, and we couldn't be this much strong. But nowadays we actually produce too much not very high quality DNA anymore based on monogamy. It's not about you or others that you're going to choose bad partners. It's about the nature. It's about how you fell in love based on the fact that you have in your DNA, but it belongs to 14,000 years ago, but you actually change it through the time, and it may not really work. So, having said that, DNA 14,000 years ago, the nature, how marriage is not so optimized because of that fact, marriage is not a very powerful thing anymore. Yes, it was a social need, then it became a part of our culture, and then we felt it's a need. Nowadays we don't feel it's a need anymore. Like, people found out that they can live on their own and they can have multiple partners without getting married. But the problem is that maybe this is not very optimized as well, because as far as the pattern goes, not as far as what we want, as far as pattern goes, we were about to have kids. We were about to have a lot of kids, because this is how actually nature works. Like you're here to produce another kind of yourself. You're about to pass the DNA to another generation, to the next generation. So you're about to have the kids, but you're not about to have the marriage. So there are two different things. You're about to have multiple partners to be able to only have a better passing DNA. Not because of having sex and not because of having pleasure, just like the definitions that we have after modernism. But the thing is that you're about to do it nature-wise. You're about to do it because it's in your nature, and that's how the nature works. Like other animals are doing it, like they're having kids, apart from getting married. Like they have no idea what is getting married, but we know, and it doesn't work anymore. And there are a lot of parameters that should be there that you be able to actually marry, but the thing is that it doesn't work, and it's not that optimized because we don't know how to actually make marriage optimized. But the thing is that we need children, but we don't need marriage. That's all pattern says. Not me. I'm just passing some ideas that we actually found in the pattern. So marriage is not a need anymore, and I don't think it's going to just last very long, 2 or 3 more generations. Nobody going to think about marriage, and they're going to just live in the same way that nature we're about to be. Like, I don't know, we tried to compress it for around 10,000 years, and it had a time, and I think it's going to go away. I'm not really a fan of marriage. There are a lot of problems with that, but not that it's a bad thing, but it needs a lot of protection. Like, it needs too much effort to be able to get something out of it, so it doesn't worth it. Like, the outcome of marriage is not always positive. It's always towards negative. It's what we found in the pattern. Anyway, it was a 2 hours long conversation, but my video is about, as it shows on the camera, is about 12 minutes. And I think I pretty much shared the conclusions, the very big titles and the concepts. Because it was much more than this anyway. And it was a beautiful concept that we could talk about, and it was a lot of beautiful dialogues that we actually shared, but this is all enough. I hope you got it. You can actually search it for yourself. I'm not here to share all the little facts with details, but I'm here all about to share the bigger picture, just something that we had in our mind. And I thought it might be beautiful that you can just listen to some ideas about marriage in a very short video. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you like it. If you like, share and subscribe and stuff like that, you know it yourself. See you later.